This is Sudan, Africa's third largest country. The nation of about 50 million people is rich in cultures, religions, and politics, and blessed with abundant natural resources including gold and oil. But since it gained its independence in 1956 from British and Egyptian rule, the country has been haunted by coups, civil wars, and power struggles. Here is a look at Sudan's turbulent past and present. Sudan was under Anglo-Egyptian rule since the late 19th century, when the First Sudanese Civil War erupted in 1955. The war broke out only months before the country gained its independence and was driven by deep ethnic and religious divides between the Muslim North and the largely Christian South. It would drag on for years and cost lives of 500,000 people. In 1969, Colonel Jafar Nimeri took power of the nation in a coup and signed the Addis Ababa Agreement in 1972, ending the 17-year war and granting limited autonomy to southern Sudan. The peace, however, wouldn't last long, as tensions resurfaced in the ensuing years, intensified by foreign involvement. Uneasy about the spread of Islam in the region, the US, Israel, and other Western nations supported southern separatist movements. In 1983, a second civil war erupted in Sudan, led by the Sudan People's Liberation Army, or SPLA, under separatist leader John Garang. The war lasted more than 2 decades, claiming roughly 2 million lives due to violence, famine, and disease. While the civil war raged on, things got worse in 1989, when it faced another coup. The coup brought Omar al-Bashir to power, with the Brigadier General becoming the nation's president in 1993. Bashir vowed to fight against separatist movements in the south. In 2002, the Machakos Protocol was signed, establishing the principle of self-determination for the people of South Sudan, and setting the framework that eventually helped end the Second Sudanese Civil War in 2005. The war had resulted in the deaths of more than 2 million people and left some 4 to 5.5 million displaced. Bashir's 30-year rule was defined by repression, corruption, and new wars, most infamously the Darfur conflict. In 2003, non-Arab rebel groups in Darfur rose up against Sudan's government, accusing it of decades of political and economic neglect. They demanded an end to chronic economic marginalization and sought power sharing with the Sudanese state, as per a Human Rights Watch report. Bashir responded by arming and backing Arab militias, notoriously known as the Janjaweed, Popular Defense Forces, who carried out scorched earth campaigns across Darfur. Around 300,000 people were killed due to the fighting, famine, and diseases, and left more than 2 million displaced. The International Criminal Court later indicted Bashir for war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide committed in Darfur. After nearly half a century of civil war, South Sudan gained independence on July 9, 2011, becoming the newest country in the world, following a referendum under the Comprehensive Peace Agreement. To resolve remaining disputes, agreements on oil, security, citizenship, trade, borders, and other key issues were reached in the Addis Ababa Agreement on September 27, 2012. Under President Bashir, the Janjaweed were reorganized into the Paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, or RSF, in 2013. The RSF was led by Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo, also known as Hemedti. Hemedti transformed the RSF into a sprawling military and financial powerhouse. He built vast business networks, from gold mining and smuggling to foreign mercenary work, sending RSF militants into conflicts in Yemen and Libya. Peace agreements came and went in 2006, 2010, and later in 2020, but they failed to deliver justice or address the root causes of Darfur's suffering. In 2017, Sudan's parliament passed a law integrating the RSF into the Sudanese armed forces. It meant that RSF got some autonomy under the command of the president. The law created 2 separate militaries inside one state. But the country's years-long challenges, like economic decline, corruption, and repression, persisted, driving millions of Sudanese into the streets in large-scale protests in 2019. The protests grew into a nationwide movement, demanding an end to Bashir's 3-decade rule. In April 2019, the army, backed by the RSF, removed Bashir from power. A transitional government soon followed, led by civilian Prime Minister Abdullah Hamdok, alongside the military. In 2021, the fragile transition collapsed after General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and Hemeti staged another coup, sidelining civilian leaders and taking full control, with Hamdok resigning the following year in 2022. After the coup, a transitional council was formed, led by Burhan, with Hemeti as his deputy. The RSF maintained control over much of Darfur and parts of the capital. But the rivalry between the two generals soon began to crumble over how to integrate the RSF into the SAF. Burhan demanded a quick unification under the army's command. Hemeti resisted, seeing it as an attempt to strip him of power and gain control over his lucrative networks. In April 2023, what began as a power struggle between two generals turned into a full-blown war between the SAF and the RSF. The RSF used guerrilla tactics and took over key parts of the capital Khartoum and western Sudan. The army responded with airstrikes and heavy artillery. Neighborhoods became battlefields. More than 40,000 people have been killed since April 2023, though aid groups say the real number may be far higher. And some 14 million have been displaced, making it the site of the world's largest humanitarian and displacement crisis on record, according to the UN. Famine is widespread, and outbreaks of cholera and other deadly diseases are increasing. In October 2025, following more than 500 days of siege, the RSF captured the army's last stronghold, al-Bashir, the capital of North Darfur state. Reports have emerged of executions, sexual violence, looting, attacks on aid workers, and abductions in and around al-Bashir. Hundreds have been killed in the recent violence.
The reality is that no one is safe in al-Bashir.
Analysts and officials warn that the violent actions being carried out could amount to crimes against humanity or genocidal acts. As of October 2025, al-Bashir is controlled by RSF, with the paramilitary force also holding most of Darfur and parts of southern Sudan, while the SAF retains control of Khartoum and much of the country's northern and central regions. As the war grinds on, neither side is showing any sign of victory, leaving the North African country trapped in a prolonged stalemate. As a fractured state torn between two rival armed forces, with millions displaced, hungry, and living in fear.